Hello and welcome to So You Think You Can Fanon. I'm your host, Sergio, also known as Roxas the Hunter, and with me I have special guest turned regular time host, Matt.
Hello. It's good to be back.
And we also have with us actual special guest, Phoenix. Say hi, Phoenix. Yes.
Yeah, that's not an alias either, by the way.
Now, now you may be noticing that we're missing Jake and Michael, but I can assure you that Michael is a very busy man. He's a very successful artist, and he has a lot of things going on right now. A lot of very important things that he is working on and projects that I'm sure will materialize within the year. I'm sure of that. And Jake is somewhere. I don't know. But that's not important.
Jake
right?
saved himself from the train wreck we're going to talk about today.
That's not important because the show must go on. We are committed to recording every week, no matter who says otherwise. So, our topic today is we have an... sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. But today is a discussion episode. There will be no fan fiction reading today. And today's topic will be something that you all can relate to, being that you have been, you could say, stuck at home for the past couple months. We are talking about Homestuck.
Specifically, so you think you know about Homestuck. Because we had to get the title theme in there for once in our lives.
So, first thing we'll talk about is how we all got introduced to Homestuck as the person who's currently talking, I will say. So, I remember it was middle school, 2000 and... anywhere from 2010 to 2014. I don't remember what. Maybe it was 6th, 7th grade. All of the kids were getting into, all of the nerdy kids were talking about and getting into Homestuck, and I saw everyone else like talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get into Homestuck, so people think I'm cool and I'll have someone to talk to. So well, actually no. That's not it actually. I remember my friend Colin. He told me about it. He was really like livening it up or whatever. And at first I thought it was like some kind of like weird like hentai thing, but I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. So I zoomed over to mspaintadventures.com, and I was introduced to Mr. Egbert, John, and I quickly fell in love with it. And I found myself just poring over page after page in my free time until eventually I got around halfway through it to where when they introduced the new characters, and I realized that everything was just blurring to like those like past like 1,000 pages or so were just blurring together in my mind. And I guess I was tired of reading walls and walls of text, and I just kind of got burned out. And I decided oh yeah, and then a few days later I got spoiled for a character death, which was that character's death for at least at that time it was been released. Yeah, that character was dead, and I was angry about that. And there was also the Gigapause, and I pledged that I would finish the comic when the Gigapause had ended and the comic was over, and I still have yet to do so, and I probably won't. I just haven't had the desire to go and finish it, even though I really do like Homestuck. I've been seeing Matt, how did you get introduced to Homestuck?
This is an interesting thing, because I know exactly how that I got into Homestuck, and it is strange how well I can remember this. Do you guys know the YouTuber by the name of Lazy Purple?
No.
The TF tuber?
No.
Fucking Lazy Purple got you into Homestuck?
So Lazy Purple, I think it was Lazy Purple's birthday video, when he was fucking around on Team Fortress 2 and he had just a bunch of people playing on his server for like 10 hours. I wasn't there. I just watched the YouTube video. And at the end of this strangely foreboding YouTube video was a musical song. And it was called Sun Slammer. Sun Slammer is a song from Homestuck. And I went to Sun Slammer on YouTube, that music alone, to see what it was. And I saw this cool art of a kid writing on something. And there was a guy with glasses, and there was a girl sleeping in a bed, and there was another chick with what I thought were chopsticks, but no, I realized now they were sewing needles. And it was a done deal after that. I thought, well, shit, I gotta get into this. I don't know what the hell this is. And this was around the time when people were really actively trying to troll the rest of the internet and pretend like Homestuck was an anime that nobody had heard of. And I thought, oh shit, well, if it's got music, it must be a show, right? No, it wasn't. Because I think to this day, if you look up Homestuck episode 1, it will pull up a 4-minute, like 360 pixel clip of somebody who looks like they tried to animate a bootleg anime of Homestuck back in 2009.
Wait, that just reminded me of a horrid I know there's like Homestuck readings, but I was like, what if like Homestuck got an anime and it got a really crappy dub? And I'm just imagining Monica Rial would play freaking Roxy. No, Rose. Rose would be played by Monica Rial.
Yeah, probably.
And I'm thinking Yuri Lowenthal would play John.
That would work pretty well, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's as a very preface. I'm not saying, oh yeah, Yuri Lowenthal's bad. No, Monica Rial is bad. Yuri Lowenthal is great. He'd probably make a great John. Or they cast like Robbie Damon.
They'd probably do a bad directing job for it, to be honest. But Yuri Lowenthal would give his best.
Johnny Young Bosch as Dave Strider.
That would work out really well. Jonathan Anime himself.
I feel like who's the guy who plays Vegeta? I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Chris
Sabat. Yeah, Chris Casting Couch Sabat. He can play Karkat.
His voice is way too deep.
This is the bad dub, and it's like, no, you listen here, John.
No, he'd be Equius. He'd be Equius, the strong troll.
Oh my god, you're right.
Anyhow, though, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But yes, that one song led me down the fucking rabbit hole that was Homestuck, and here I am today. As you can clearly tell, it was a harrowing, traumatic experience.
Matt aged like 20 years.
I genuinely did have to age 5 years to see the ending of Homestuck, because it took 5 fucking years for it to end.
Why didn't Hussey just drop all 8,000 pages all at once?
For real, though. But that's how I got into it. Phoenix.
Yes.
How did you get into it, young man?
Oh, so Phoenix, you don't...
How did I get into it?
Phoenix,
well, there's 2 fingers I can point here.
Hold on, wait,
there
Phoenix.
was this one guy, his name was Matt, and another
Sounds
guy,
like a cool guy.
His name was Sergio.
Wait, hold on, Phoenix.
Wow.
You know you don't have to be streaming on Discord, right?
Huh?
You're still live on Discord.
Oh. Okay, there we go. Anyways, as I was saying, you two got me into it, but actually, I had a few close calls when I was a little kid that I would accidentally find Homestuck videos. I didn't know what they were, but as a little kid, I would find these videos of, like, crappy K-pop songs, like, put into them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, me being a bad taste, Goo Goo Gaga Babies, I was like, haha, these songs are kind of good. And now that I look back at them, no, they were not. But, I had a few close calls into getting Homestuck when I was like, I don't know, 10.
Oh my.
But I'm glad I didn't. But yeah, I've heard of it a few times before you guys introduced me to it, and now I somehow I know more than you two combined.
It's that damn youthful energy you have, and the fact that you also binged the entirety of Homestuck 1 and 2 in the course of like a year.
Yeah, I have no regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
Anyhow, for our audience members, we should probably explain what the fuck is a Homestuck.
Well, if you haven't been living under the rock on the internet, on the proverbial rock on the internet, Homestuck is a webcomic made by Sir Andrew Hussey, lover of fat Mexican Vriska. We will get to that later. The big elephant in the room, the big orca in the room. Mr. Hussey created Homestuck as a comic on his website, MS Paint Adventures. I have been told that there were MS Paint Adventures before Homestuck, but I don't believe that. That's fake news.
Oh, it's very real, Sergio.
I don't believe you.
There was a guy, apparently his name was John Problem Sleuth, and he was doing some sleuthing for problems until he came across a problem so big it fucking killed him, and it was called Homestuck. And then Homestuck took over the entirety of Andrew Hussey's website, called MS Paint Adventures, and that was basically all Hussey did for, what was it, 7 years?
I mean, is
at
Hussey
least
doing anything? You act like Hussey's doing anything now.
Yeah, but for that period of time, that was like all he did was just Homestuck.
Yes, so Homestuck obviously blew up. It became a big cosplay target. Blew up all over DeviantArt because what happens when you make something that has you take a property and that it's possible to make a bunch of OCs inside property, then DeviantArt is all over it. So I'm sure if you go on there, there's a bajillion different of the trolls and all that. And then
We'll get to the trolls.
Homestuck, it had had its run. There were some giga pauses because Hussey would pause and be like, "Yeah, I'm working on the comic," and then drop a bunch of it all at once, and then it ended. But then this is all conjecture here. I'm not sure, but this is my theory. So Hussey finished Homestuck. I was like, Homestuck is done. I'm done. And then he was like, "Wait, I still have to make money. You know what's gonna stop making me money?
Homestuck.
The finished book I just created." So Hussey did the paradox something.
Paradox Space.
Yeah, Paradox Space, where he was like, "Yeah, y'all can just make your own alternate universes and make Homestuck content." And that kept people busy for a bit. But then he was like, well, that's them doing stuff. I need to keep this brand alive. So Hussey gathered Greg Chudley and the gang, and he was like, "All right, listen, Chuds, I need you to make the Homestuck epilogues. I scribbled down a few things here. Don't get sexual. They're all 14, and just have at it." And I'm gonna call it dubiously canon because even though this is being marked as the epilogue, if people don't like it, you can just go, well, if you don't like it, you could just ignore it. It's not canon. And then they did the epilogues, which were basically like a light novel, and then Hussey was like, yeah, you Greg Chudley and the gang, great job. You guys know how to draw, right? And they were like, I guess. It's like, all right. Homestuck 2, baby, beyond canon, but it's also dubiously canon. But even though it's called Homestuck 2, and it's at the Homestuck 2 directory, and everyone will refer to it as Homestuck 2, it's dubiously canon. So again, if nobody likes it, you can just write it off as not being canon.
Yep. But to be very clear, what is Homestuck? It is a web comic that is simultaneously every other form of consumable media possible. And that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah, there are animations, there are GIFs, there are Flash games that was inside of it, but I'm sure that they've been moved to HTML at this point.
Yep, they've all been saved forever. Homestuck has been preserved, thankfully, after the death of Flash, despite the fact that it heavily relied on it. And there's fully animated sequences within it with music and movement.
Oh, and
There
also,
are entire
you
sections that read like a book as well.
You can also get it physically as a book. I don't know how they translated all of that to a physical medium, but you can read it physically if you'd like.
Let's see. It's got to be multiple books, right?
I mean, yeah, it's multiple books, and they're pretty like lengthwise. They're long, which I'm assuming is to put in the drawings and stuff like that, and the text logs. I'm assuming they would have to cut down on some of the text logs because some of them get pretty curthy, but I've never read them or seen the inside of them.
Looking at it, it looks like it doesn't really cut down on it very much. Although it does read like a pretty nice comic here. But the thing to understand about Homestuck is it is the kind of thing that takes full advantage of the medium it resides in.
Did they translate the text?
I'm not sure, Mom.
Did
there are full text boxes inside of it.
Oh, there's text boxes and stuff. Okay, that might actually be better for me though, because one of the things that I started to not like it is reading the pester logs when they got really loud. Not loud because it's long.
Well, I should say they do basically just take the pester logs and put them in. That's what I mean by the text boxes. They just
I thought
them
that
out
they
of the
made them
comic
like
and put it in there.
They just made them like speak it in dialogue bubbles.
No, that would require tons and tons and tons of extra art. They unfortunately did not have the budget for that, it seems, and the books are basically just screenshots from the comic put into a book form.
Oh yeah, it's like in Congress when people pull out the printed out tweets essentially.
Giant billboard.
Homestuck, very huge.
But
very big.
It really is
pages big.
It really is an amazing thing with Homestuck because it's one of the few things I've seen in media where it is fully encapsulating and abusing all facets of its creation. And it's almost inspiring to see how ridiculous it can become. But aside from that, what is Homestuck about, gentlemen?
So Homestuck is about a young boy named John Egbert. He's basically kind of a self-insert, but he's got his own personality. But it's kind of clear that he's kind of meant to be. He's supposed to be the player. He's kind of supposed to be you. And John, he's got these 3 best friends in the whole world. Rose, which is Rose falls into the category of ruined women everywhere, according to that one thing is like Scott Pilgrim ruined women for all generations. I guess you could describe Rose as that.
No, that was Rebecca Flowers.
Ramona Flowers.
Ramona Flowers.
Yeah,
Ramona Flowers.
She's goth GF. I can't remember. I'm struggling to remember Rose's personality. I just remember being
her personality was. Her personality is she's very no nonsense, very well read, quite knowledgeable. You know that shtick. She's kind of like Raven from Teen Titans. That's the best way to summarize her. I think.
Yeah, it's like the dynamic of guy and girl are friend. Girl thinks guy is a doofus, and she's clearly smarter than him. They basically have that dynamic, and then he's got his friend, the best character in the whole all of fiction actually, David Stiditer, who you've heard much about. Dave Strider, he wears glasses and he's super cool, and everything about him is really, 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 really cool. And then we have the sleeper hit, the genius, Jade Harley. She has a pet wolf. She also owns an Iron Man suit, or she makes an Iron Man suit at some point. But basically, she's like a quirky nature girl who does very interesting things with the game. The starter of the Okay, so 4 main characters: Jade, Rose, Dave, John. They find a game called Suburb, and when John puts Suburb into his computer, he soon realizes that it's not an ordinary game, as it can move things in his own reality, and the game space becomes the world. John also quickly triggers a meteorite to come hurtling towards the planet to destroy it, and a bunch of weird things happen from there, and all 4 of them are whisked on an interplanetary adventure to win the game and defeat the main villain of the story.
I mean, they don't really have a main villain.
I mean, they don't until like Caliborn or Calliope or whatever his name is.
Yeah, but that's that's not until like what is it, Act 6 when that character gets introduced.
Okay. So I should have prefaced first that there isn't really a main antagonist, until the one we just mentioned that happens at the end of there is a final boss at the end of the story, but for the most part it's just them trying to get through the game. And then we're also introduced halfway through to the Trolls, which is a group of 12?
Yes.
12. Okay,
12.
so yeah, there's 12 trolls. Sorry. Because I'm fleetingly remember. So there's the 12 trolls, and they too are. Do they have their own version of Suburb? Did they put in?
They just place Suburb, but well.
Okay.
Before we get to the trolls, we should probably explain that the general kind of story that Homestuck is, which is the kind of story where at every step of the way you're wondering why the fuck you are reading it and what possible purpose this has in the grand scheme of God's design of planet Earth. And the answer you inevitably find yourself giving to it is you have no idea, but you keep reading anyways. Homestuck is dumb. It is one of the weirdest, dumbest things you will ever read. And if you don't believe me, type in Homestuck page 1 right now and just go through the first 10 or 15 pages.
Well, I kind of fell in love with
Serge?
it I kind of fell in love with it because of the characters. It was the characters and the humor for me that kept me reading, and I also just I've always liked the real life video game idea. So I was like, yeah,
I really like the concept of it. But at the same time, the entire first 100 pages of the webcomic is John trying to get out of his house to the mailbox to get the fucking game. And he has a turn-based battle with his father, who throws a birthday cake at him, and John has to combat him with the severed arm of a Harlequin doll, which was part of his grandmother's will to his father. She is now dead, by the way. It's his dead grandmother's Harlequin doll.
Oh, but she'll be back.
She'll be back. Don't you fucking worry. You will never get away from her, despite the fact that bitch has been dead for years. But Homestuck is dumb. It is. I mean, dumb in the it is insane sense. It is really weird.
I refer to that as being stupid, but also dumb.
Yes, it's stupid and dumb. But if you
the
were
best way
go ahead,
I've heard
Phoenix.
it described is that it's a story about the internet, but it stops being a story about the internet around Act 6, then it becomes a story about Homestuck.
Yes, but absolutely it is inspired by early 2000s internet culture, and it was the culmination of internet culture in 2007. That's exactly the kind of story you're going to get involved with, because everything from the first bits of Homestuck are the kind of things that people in 2007 fucking shit themselves laughing at. And I'll be honest, I still shit myself sometimes laughing at some of the things in Homestuck, because that's just the kind of core culture I like from the internet. It's almost like a time capsule, now that I think about it, with all the lingo that gets used. And it's not in the sense that, it's like a corporate guy saying, let's put in all this cool referential lingo, because Homestuck is the embodiment of it. There's really very little done to help the reader digest or parse what is happening. It just expects that you keep reading if you want to or not. But it's very unique. Very, very unique. And right now I can solidly say, if you like the first bits of Homestuck, you will continue to love it throughout.
Yes, and then, as I mentioned before, because I want to actually, it may be a hot take here, about the trolls, as we mentioned later, is that they are our secondary protagonists that we follow for a while, and they get entangled in our main character's adventure, is that Andrew Hussey, surprisingly, creates what I think is a pretty good alien race and alien society. And what I mean by that is that they are so different and weird and so distanced from us, which I think is something that later writers, as I referred to them as Greg Chudley and the boys, when they took over for things like the outside media, is that like they truly feel like alien. They're not just like, oh yeah, they're basically like humans who live in a world. No, they have like a completely different culture. They have different ways of going about things, and it's really well done. And like, there's a lot of lore and background to them. They truly feel like, yeah, this is an alien race. This this doesn't feel like because obviously like human beings put human things onto aliens. For the most part, to me at least, trolls as they're depicted in Homestuck are a pretty good summation of what I think an alien race would look like. Or like...
Yes, and of course, what were you saying?
No, you can continue.
Well, I was going to say, they are in fact called trolls because, as you would guess, they troll people on the internet as much as they can.
And they also have horns.
They also have horns, and we have no clue what their genitalia is like. They think buckets are really hypersexual, and there's my favorite way of introducing a character. Okay, I should say this. When a new character is introduced in Homestuck, there are like 5 pages bringing in the character. It asks you to write in what their name is, and it would type a name for you, because I think it started out with people telling the story what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then eventually Hussey was like, okay, there's a story here I would like to tell eventually, and so things start getting derailed a little bit.
I say it was more like, holy shit, there's so many people flocking to this that I should probably stop taking input.
Are you saying I used to be able to name him John Homestuck as well as his friends Dave, Jade, and Rose Homestuck?
Well, yeah, that's why all of their names are replaced with jokes at the start, and then they change to the real names. That's why John's name was going to be Zeusmel Poop Lord. Anyhow, what was I saying? Oh yeah, as Sergio said, it is a really interesting alien race, and the reason why I think it's interesting is John. I'll start with our human main character, John, who is the most basic dude you could think of. He is the definition of a consumer. He watches shit tons of movies, loves video games, would probably play D&D if he knew it existed. And he is infatuated with Nicolas Cage from, what was that movie? Air something?
Con Air.
Con Air, yes. And he has tons and tons of movie posters all over his room. This is in contrast to the main leader character of the trolls, whose name is Karkat.
And he will be played by Chris Sabat.
Who will be played by Chris Sabat in the extremely inaccurate English dub. And on all of the walls of Karkat's room are also posters of movies. But in typical Homestuck style, they are posters where the skin is grayed out, so they look like trolls, of anybody on the posters, and they also have weird horns like the trolls. And instead of having titles for the movies that are like Con Air or Die Hard or things like that, the titles of the movies are multiple paragraph long textual descriptions of what the movie you're going to watch is, if it is a troll movie. So Con Air becomes something like grown-ass man tries to reestablish connection with family and fails in the process because such and such. It's like you took I think he actually did take the Wikipedia summary of the movies and pasted them onto the posters in some cases. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure, but that's a good idea of what actually is on those posters in Karkat's room. And that's such an immediate tell that this character is going to be connected to John in some way, but he is totally different because he is alien. And I really like that. But the funny thing is, as much as people talk about the trolls, and as much as people really love the trolls, they don't actually come into the comic proper until something like 2,000 pages in. Like, Act 5 is when you actually get to the trolls. For real.
Yeah, and honestly, they were my least favorite part of it when I first started reading it. It took me a while
Really?
to actually like them. Yeah, I actually, when Carcat got on screen and I had like 10 pages of Carcat, I was like, I'm done. Click, 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 click. I would just skim through, get the notes or whatever, and then halfway through the troll introduction, I was like, you know what? I like this one. I'm gonna go back. Click, 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 click. Did a little bit more skimming. All right, I got a general idea, and then I started liking them. I still hate Carcat though.
Bruh.
Bro, he's my favorite, bro.
As someone who didn't like to read long walls of text, Carcat is my enemy.
That's
Shut up.
honestly reasonable. That's honestly reasonable. But that is the joke, that Carcat types and writes way, 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 way too much. And, okay, Homestuck has a lot of time paradox shenanigans. Like, a lot. It's a huge part of some parts of the comic.
Is this where we're going to talk about the fat Mexican first guy in the room?
No, we'll get to that thing in a bit here. Because first I want to tell you that my favorite thing that Carcat ever does in all of Homestuck is have a multi-page argument, like a 10-page, no double-spaced, it's like a single-spaced argument with himself from 10 minutes in the future. And I got to the whatever. I could go on and on about how much I love that conversation, but you just have to read it for yourself. But here's the big thing. Not only are there 12 trolls and like 4 humans, and there's a bunch of other shit going on, but here's the really interesting thing. Andrew Hussie, the creator of Homestuck, is a character in Homestuck, like a real actual dude in the comics. And he also has a fandom for Homestuck. I think we should talk about the fandom a little bit before we get to the elephant.
The fat Mexican first guy on the back of the corner.
Yes.
Okay, so the Homestuck fandom. I would like to note that I don't engage in fandoms. I occasionally brush past them, and from what I can say is that I know fandom, like a fandom doesn't represent the bad eggs don't represent everyone, but to me, like obviously there are good fans and there are bad fans, but I think it's the best way to characterize a fandom is by the chuds. So by definition, I would say Homestuck. The bad Homestuck fans are some of the most bottom tier of fandom fans. Can we agree on that?
I cannot agree with that. I must agree with their bottom tier human beings. They don't belong on this earth in many ways. But thankfully, I think they've crawled into their caverns and are not coming out, because Homestuck 2 was a complete train wreck of epic proportions.
Yeah,
and there's really nothing relevant for Homestuck fans now.
Like this.
So yeah, as you could expect, Homestuck, attracted the shipping crowd, and of course, fanfiction was written, and DeviantArt OCs are made, and as we all know, most DeviantArt OCs tend to be a bit cringy. They're very loud and vocal about how much they love Homestuck and how Homestuck is the best ever, and everyone needs to read Homestuck, and everyone's like, "Oh, you guys are like really weird. Could you stop with your jokes and you're forcing it on me?"
Yeah, it's a little much. I'm gonna go get some water. I'll let you guys talk about whatever you want. I think maybe talk a bit about Andrew Hussie as a character, or not as a character, his relationship with the fandom, and then the elephant.
Yes. So, to not give any dead air and to not have to cut anything out, Phoenix, do you have any more words on the Homestuck fandom? Because I'm sure you've not interacted, but seen more stuff than I have.
Oh yes. There is one word that could be used to describe the entire fandom. Tumblrites.
Yeah, Tumblrites.
Yeah, they basically the one thing that got latched onto Homestuck, like getting a leash soldered onto your
I'm back.
arm, is Tumblr. It was heavily associated with Tumblr, and basically that was the main cesspit for Homestuck back in the early 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would also like to for Homestuck to apply what I call the I'll call it the teen waifu double standard. So okay, so what I'll explain it like this. So let's say I'm a green Naruto fan, and I'm like, oh, Momo, she's cute. I think she's hot. You will, if you say that on the internet, you'll get some blue hair with glasses, and she'll be like, oh, she's 16. Oh, pervert, pedo, and you're like, she's drawing. And I will preface this by saying that, of course, teens in anime are drawn in a certain way, and they act a certain way on the medium. And just because you like someone like Momo and you think she's hot, or someone like Yoko Littner in Gurren Lagann, that doesn't mean you're a pedo. It doesn't mean anything like that. It doesn't mean like, yeah, I want to bang Yoko at the current age that she's being depicted in. And the double standard comes from women who will be like, oh, Carcat, John Egbert, oh my god, my boys. And they will do that to the cow comes home, and nobody says anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't believe how many tweets
are actually portrayed really well for their age.
We'll actually come back to this, because there's a big thing that I wanna scream at the people, Greg Chudley and the boys who wrote the epilogues of Homestuck 2. But I've seen so many tweets of, oh, you like short women, you like Uzaki-chan, oh, you're a pedophile, oh my god, she's so young looking, ah. But yeah, that's the double standard, and it happened a lot with Homestuck. Not the double standard, but just women on Tumblr like, Carcat, Dave, John. What were we talking about?
Yeah.
You wanted to talk about Hussey and his role in the story. I went on a tangent.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
So Andrew Hussey, as you may expect, had cultivated a very, let's be generous and call it, unique relationship with his fandom.
He would talk to them a lot. He had a blog, and he'd converse with them. I don't know what the relationship was. I never followed that.
I know it was... Okay, you guys know French people?
I'm aware of them.
Okay, do you know these guys called the Russians?
Yes.
You know Napoleon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know Napoleon and the Russians?
Yeah, they didn't like each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the relationship between Andrew Hussey and his fandom. It was really funny in a lot of ways because, we haven't talked about this yet. A lot of people die in Homestuck.
Yeah.
A
oh
lot.
Yeah. That's another thing we can bring back from the Tumblr era. If you kill off my favorite character, you are the scum of the earth. You are the worst human being to ever live. See, I was a Doctor Who fan. I was in the Doctor Who fandom, and when Moffat went and killed Amy and Rory, he was Satan and the devil, and the Antichrist. And he was a horrible writer. He was terrible. He's an evil man who only feasts on our suffering.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal sometimes. At one point, there's even a joke in the comic that Andrew Hussey's character says, which is, time is money, and also dead kids. And oh boy, there's a lot of dead kids around here.
Oh yeah, also, I was also in that crowd, because when he killed,
Oh, spoilers, by the way.
Spoilers.
Okay, there's a death regarding one of the trolls.
We said spoilers, Sergio. It's fine. You can use names.
Oh, okay. I don't remember which one it was. It's a joke relating to Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger's Nepeta. Yeah, it's Nepeta. I was so beside myself that he would do that to poor old Nepeta, and like, it's like, that's not funny, Andrew Hussey. I'm gonna do nothing, but I'm angry.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. The other funny shit. What? I was just thinking of something. Oh, yes. Andrew Hussey, in the design of Homestuck, has made it so that he can kill one person like 3 different times and have it still make sense. And in fact, one person dies like 5 times. I can't remember who it was, but there's a lot of death in Homestuck, like a lot. Sometimes it's consequential, sometimes it's not. But now,
your favorite character can just like that.
Oh, do we want to talk about Tobert Fett before we get to the Vriska thing, or do we want to get to the Vriska?
Mr. Toby Queef himself?
Yeah, Foxman.
Toby Fox?
Yeah, Tobert
What does
Fett.
Toby Fox have to do with Homestuck?
You don't know?
No, I don't know.
You don't know Mr. Undertale?
Toby Fox made all of the music
the
for
Empreg
Homestuck.
Song.
No, all of the music. He made like
like most of the music.
Okay.
Yeah, he
didn't know
made
that.
most of the music for Homestuck. He has Megalovania in Homestuck.
I didn't know that.
But yes, I guess we're on the topic now. Toby Fox, creator of Undertale and Deltarune, and also musician for Nintendo. I think Phoenix gave the big thing away, but Toby Fox in his early days made a lot of music for Homestuck, and that is why he became such a well-known person. And then Undertale is why he is a household fucking name now. But he was very popular back then. There's some other shit with him making a ROM hack for Earthbound and putting Megalovania in that. And now Megalovania is in Homestuck, the ROM hack, and of course Undertale. Sans Undertale, if you will.
And now Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Anyhow, that is Tobert Fox's role in everything. Aside from the fact that he made an Mpreg music album for Homestuck, that's not a joke. That's not an exaggeration in any way, shape, or form.
And
it
was sampled and put into Super Smash Brothers.
No, I think it was sampled and put into the game.
Pokemon.
Oh, Pokemon.
The biggest media franchise out there.
And I think
he had one chance and he shitposted.
He shitposted an Mpreg album into Pokemon, and it's there forever now. But anyways, now that we've covered all of that, I think it's time to let the dam break. Vriska.
Because of her weight?
There's a troll character. Her name is Vriska with a V. She is a pretty important character in Homestuck.
And also stupid bitch.
And is also stupid bitch. And also is the subject of Andrew Hussey's
Lust.
Lust. His primal tendencies.
Yeah,
right.
So this was a fandom joke that spiraled out of control, but Andrew Hussey, so actually hold on, let me go to the Homestuck wiki and read you what that has to say about Hussey and Vriska. Let's see here. I believe it's under dubiously canon. Yes, Hussey frequently joked on the forum spring about Vriska, that she would be his bride, and that she is the fattest of all, and the wedding would be at SeaWorld, and that if she were on his bed, he would have to lift her out via crane. The Vriska would have to bring her god-tier outfit to the tailor to be let way out. for their wedding. That her consorts were Pooh Bears and Vriska went on a diet and he divorced her. And that he signed a prenuptial, but she ate it. He later rounded up all the Forbes Free jokes in the following response. Fat Mexican Vriska has a nice ass, and I'm presently married to this woman. I feed her a steady diet of surprise noodles, Finnish crumbs, and every day I must pry her monstrous carriage out of bed with a shout pole. From time to time, we seem to endure various forms of marital strife. He later says that he will only make his move on Vriska once she has been fattened up by the horror terrors.
And I think it all started from this one question somebody asked him, which was, what would you do if Vriska was on your bed right now? To which Andrew Hussey replied, cut a hole in the side of my house and contract a crane to lift her out.
So yeah, Fat Mexican Vriska has been a joke. It's been a cause of many a laughing fit. If someone brings up Homestuck with us, then Fat Mexican Vriska
it's gonna come out. It's too funny.
Yeah, it's sure to trail around. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Someone asked him, so if you're going to marry Vriska, does that mean she's the fastest of all? Most monitors don't have the horizontal resolution to properly convey the grim reality for astonishing girth. We will be married at SeaWorld.
I love that crazy bastard Andrew Hussey.
Yeah, also, I would like to also point out something that was done to Vriska by Kate Mitchell. I feel like Kate Mitchell is someone who needs to be spoken about once.
Kate Mitchell?
Yes, so Kate Mitchell. She wrote a little bit for Pester Quest, and I believe she's one of the main writers of Homestuck Tour, used to be. But basically, if I'm correct, I might be talking about somebody else, but Kate Mitchell was like really being hostile and dismissive to the fans on their Discord server, and Hussey wasn't doing anything about it. I think it's because there was some romantic relations between Kate Mitchell and Hussey, and I think it just ended with Kate Mitchell leaving the projects or whatever. There was a big like essay on the Reddit about that whole situation, but in relation to Vriska, so I am going to be very careful with my words here because I'm not going to get canceled on Twitter.com. So, this is relating to the trolls. The trolls, the trolls don't have they don't have sexes like we do, because they
have sexes. It's just that they don't have sexual relations the way that we do.
Yeah. So they don't have the same organs or like I said, they're aliens. So basically, all of them. So if you and your troll wife want to have a baby, you throw down a bucket and you redacted some genetic material into the bucket, and then somebody takes the bucket and stirs it up and does something with it, gives it to a thing called a lucis, and out pops a new baby troll. So obviously, what? I might be
actually Sergio.
Okay.
They give it to the mother grub.
Yeah, the mother grub or whatever. Sorry, I'm not up to date on troll reproductive organs. And obviously, Hussey was too much of a pussy to detail troll reproductive anatomy for us. We can understand how this works. Probably because we're talking about 14-year-olds, which we'll get to that in a bit. Basically, trolls can just decide to oh yeah, I don't some of them don't have boobs, some of them do. Yeah, I'm a guy or I'm a girl. So you would think that things like deciding Vriska is transgender, like Kate Mitchell decided. Kate Mitchell said Vriska is literally canonically in every sense of the world a trans girl. There is nothing Hussey wrote to denote this. I'm not, dissing having a transgender character in fiction. I am just simply saying that it doesn't really matter for trolls to be transgender because they don't really have genders in the traditional sense, as both people spit a gob of genetic material out of their redacted. That's just the thing.
They can be the same gender and it will still make a baby.
Yeah, it's to me it's
very confusing.
It's just really just like some pointless diversity where I read that and I was like, okay, what does that change about anything? Nothing,
Yeah, I think
really.
I think my key issue with it is it applies a very human thing that's happening right now to aliens when the whole point of the trolls is that they are literally out of our capabilities of understanding in terms of sexual abilities and relationships. They're just weird. They are weird and strange, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I guess I'll speak now about the problem I have with modern troll depictions, like post Andrew Hussey, and Phoenix can probably back me up on some examples from the epilogues and too, because I haven't read them, but from Hive Swap, I've noticed that these new writers write the trolls kind of like Tumblrites. They really have started writing them like human beings, and instead of using like weird wacky metaphors and different things, they'll just like, yeah dude, I went on the internet and I went to Troll Blur, and on my blog I talked about the movie Try Hard 2. Like you get what I mean? It's they started just making them feel more like humans instead of this weird alien race that has all these different things or whatever. Like there's a point in Hive Swap 2 where they're doing an Ace Attorney trial or whatever, and one of the characters goes, you know what? I have the dirt on this guy. And it's like, all right, what? This is a girl from the 1990s, mind you. The troll goes, yeah, so I got her internet history. And girl from the 90s is like, oh yeah, I know everything that entails. And they're like, yep, there's juicy stuff in this, or whatever. And it's one kind of anachronistic for the time period for the main character to understand the gravity of having somebody's internet history. But again, that's just a very like human joke.
Yeah,
a very modern human joke.
Yeah, and
or like,
you know,
there are vampire trolls, and in Hive Swap kind of implies that teenage vampire genre is alive and well on Alternia, which shouldn't realistically make sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff like that. But I think we're getting a little off topic from the real core of Homestuck. Because that's all Homestuck 2 stuff. Yes, the home.
Yeah.
One thing we touched on the humor and how it's sort of an encapsulation of 2007 humor, and that's I guess fairly accurate. But there's also a lot of really uniquely dumb shit in Homestuck. If you don't believe me, look up Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff.
Yes.
If you look up Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff, that's Hella Jeff, you will learn the ways of the shit about Homestuck. Now that's a little extreme, but it's really difficult to describe the encapsulation of the unique shit with Homestuck. And I think that's part of why Sergio is so guffed with how Homestuck 2 has handled a lot of the trolls, because, joke or not, Andrew Hussey actually unironically created one of the most interesting races of aliens certainly in webcomics, but probably in the majority of fan fiction in general. It's very interesting. And then they went the way of getting OC'd to death by the Homestuck fandom. Oh, that's we should probably talk about Hive Swap, since we brought that up in passing.
Yes. So halfway through Homestuck's development, Andrew Hussey, the dollar signs in his eyes was like, merchandise. So what kind of merchandise? A video game. A Kickstarter video game. One of the biggest projects in Kickstarter history. Millions and millions of dollars. And then it was picked up by What Pumpkin Games and their publisher. and they spent like a few years cranking it out. To me, at least, I didn't follow it after the Kickstarter. I assumed that Hussey stole all of the millions of dollars, and was the game. The game was never going to come
actually,
out.
Yeah,
somebody did take the money. Do you know it, Phoenix?
Yeah, I know about this. There is the original developers for the game were called the Odd Gentlemen, and they said like, oh yeah, we'll make your game and shit. Yeah, just give us the money, we'll make a game. A year later, Hussey's like, hey, how's progress going? And they're like, what? You know the game that I gave you the money for? Oh yeah, you wanted us to make King's Quest 2? No. And so basically Hussey had to cut contracts with them because they stole the money and made King's Quest 2 with that money that Hussey gave, and then transferred over to the game studio What Pumpkin, and they had to completely change everything from what they originally were going to make it, and turn it into a point-and-click 2D adventure game.
Yes, and then
because it used to be 3D actually.
Yeah, I was going to discuss that. I think Hive Swap suffered from losing those millions of dollars because I don't think Hive Swap is at its total what's it called, potential. Because what we started out with is, if we'll talk about Hive Swap Act 1, which I guess would be a prequel to Homestuck, as I believe. Isn't there a thing of Roxy up in the Rose's mom, Roxy? There's a painting of her in the Act 1, or maybe it's Jade's dad or something.
Yeah, there is a painting of her.
It was Roxy.
Yeah, it was Roxy. So it follows these kids in the 90s, and they basically well, as the Hive Swap, the girl is sent to Alternia, and a male troll is sent to Earth. Now, despite this Hive Swap, we don't actually get to see the other half of the Hive Swap, because that was supposed to be a different game called Hive Bent. And Hive Bent hasn't materialized, because after Hive Swap Act 1, What Pumpkin decided to go off and make a bunch of visual novels, which were Hive Swap Friend Sim and Pester Quest. Hive Swap Friend Sim being about a bunch of trolls who basically just all end up
feature in Hive Swap.
Yeah, they all just they all it's basically just to set up the characters that you meet in Hive Swap Act 2. And then Pester Quest is a semi-canon visual novel that has you playing as the characters from the main game. My general thoughts on Hive Swap: that the first act is really good, but again, it's an hour. It's only an hour, about hour 30 minutes if you don't know what you're doing. Maybe less than an hour on a second playthrough. You know absolutely what you're doing. You're getting through it. Hive Swap Act 2 is lengthened a little by there being a lot of dialogue, but I would say it's almost exactly the same length, and it does, I think, suffer a little bit in the writing department.
Yeah, probably.
I did enjoy what I played of Friend Sim, but I couldn't help but thinking when all this was happening is like, well, they're wasting their time making Friend Sim and Pester Quest. Just get on with making more Hive Swaps. Because literally, there's achievements that you can't get in Hive Swap Act 1 because they like Hive Bent was supposed to come out. Because there was gonna be this thing where you could jump your save data around between Hive Swap and Hive Bent.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate what happened with all that, but
yeah, 3 years between Act 1 and Act 2.
Oh, this just popped in my head because of what Phoenix just posted in the chat. If you notice, if you're looking into the Juggalo phenomena, and you notice a massive increase in the Juggalo population around 2011, you can blame Homestuck. I am certain all of that can be blamed on Homestuck.
Did Homestuck actually turn people into Juggalos? I am
that. 100% certain that at least a few people became Juggalos. Perhaps they became subjugulators instead. Subjugulators. But,
I don't think anyone's talked about the Insane Clown Posse in 10 years. Are they even still around?
Oh, the Insane Clown Posse is in Homestuck. We should make that clear. This is this is not a bit. This is not a joke. They're just in Homestuck.
Okay, the ICP is still still
making
doing their
concerts
thing.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually went to a concert.
You went to an
2019.
ICP concert?
Oh yeah, I got fucking drenched in Fago. What? My parents used to play it all the time. It wasn't Homestuck that got me into clowns.
You're into clowns?
Sergio. Look at my profile picture.
That doesn't mean anything.
Look at my Steam profile picture.
That doesn't mean anything.
I like clowns.
Yes, for those who can't see it, they are both clowns
Well, you're a
of some
weirdo.
variety. Demonic clowns of some variety, I should clarify. Which is what clowns are like in the Homestuck universe. They're all terrifying demons that subjugate the wills of other people to their command.
Oh yeah. To talk about the clowns, I also have to mention a brief something. The trolls have a basically hierarchy system based on their blood color, and the purple bloods, basically some of the highest ranking of the hierarchy. All of them are clowns. They all have a religion of just juggalos. They love rap, they drink Fago, they get high all the time.
Yeah, and, oh, that's right. The Insane Clown Posse becomes the first and only dual presidents of the United States of America after taking it over with the help of, what was it, Betty Crocker? And
Betty Crocker,
Betty
the
Crocker
Batter
and
Witch.
Guy Fieri, who is the Antichrist. No offense to Guy Fieri in real life. I think we've kind of covered a lot of the basics of it. We would have to basically go into story arcs and stuff like that. I think, unless there's anything. Anything else
this is my time. This is my time to have my cracks and knuckles Homestuck 2 rant. All right, this is the Kate Shudley and the Homestuck 2 gang.
Wait, Sergio first.
What
is Homestuck 2?
Not non-canon. It's beyond. It's dubiously canon. So Homestuck 2 is the fan-made Andrew Husty supervised Homestuck sequel. And what I'm very mad at is that the characters in Homestuck are 14 years old, and Husty was like, "All right, guys, listen, these are children. Don't get sexual. Don't get into relationships or stuff like that." But these writers, the girls who are going.
No, they're adults now. Don't worry.
Yeah. So of course the first thing that they do is they age them up. They got to age them up real quick, right quick, so they can start
Clapping?
Yes, clapping.
their cheeks. But yeah, characters start fucking. Jade is a dog food Nari. She has a dog cock, which she
That's
gets
cursed.
people pregnant with. And yeah, my issue with this is this isn't just the natural progression of, you know, people grow up and they become adults and they start exploring the sexual side of things. No, this is a bunch of Tumblrites who are like, I need to have my pairings, and so I'm gonna age them up real quick, and I'm gonna have them do stuff. Like this is a concentrated effort to get these kid characters to start, and I hate it. I don't like it.
That's fair. I haven't read Homestuck 2, so I have no detailed opinions about it. Phoenix
Yeah,
has read Homestuck too.
Yeah,
yeah, and I hate myself because of it.
give us the lowdown on
Do you hate the authors more?
Stuckington 2.
Okay. So, when I finished Homestuck, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of sad it's over. But wait, there's the epilogues in Homestuck too. And I'm like, wow, I get to see all my favorite characters again. They are no longer my favorite characters.
Okay, so
I hate every single one of them.
Okay, so I'm gonna because it sounds like Kate Mitchell and the boys are truly the masters in the art of ruining things, as Red Letter Media would say in relation to George Lucas. So, Phoenix, I'm gonna just name some people off, and you tell me how they ruin them. Dave Strider.
Dave Strider. You know what? He decides that he hates his powers and he's not going to use them ever, not even to save his friends.
Oh, that's lame.
And
does he give a reason
the creators
for it, or
decided
does he
like,
just, like,
wow,
no?
I want my favorite ship to happen, so they immediately ship him with Carcat, making that a real thing. There's
also the love triangle with Jade, right?
Oh yeah, the love triangle with Jade. And
oh yeah,
dog cock.
Oh yeah, we should also talk about how in to add to the another dubiously canonness, they introduced 2 different timelines. One is like kind of just like the mainstream Homestuck one, and then another one is for they could go off the rails and do whatever they wanted to. And you're probably like, oh, it's just literally just an alternate universe. I can ignore it. Nope. It's integral to the plot. You can't just read like the candy and be like, oh, isn't that weird and kooky? No, they're permanent fixtures in the ongoing story. But continue, Phoenix.
Yeah. In the epilogues, here's what angers me about the epilogues. The ending for the meat timeline is in the candy timeline, and the ending for the candy timeline is in the meat timeline.
Hey, Phoenix.
So you have to read both, and they're both very important to the plot. And a certain 2 characters, spoiler, they vor. They get the fucking Calliope vores Caliborn, basically ending the great evil that apparently wasn't killed, even though he totally was in the main story, but they just decided to be like, oh, you have to go back in time and actually like kill him instead of sealing him away. Basically, that happens. It's really fucking cursed, and then said Vorer goes inside Jade and kind of possesses her for a bit and starts timeline hopping.
What is this meat and candy timeline? Have we described the specifics of it? I kind of spaced out for a little bit when you said Jade's dog dick.
So Homestuck, and Phoenix can fill in the details of this, but to my knowledge, so Homestuck, the epilogue is divided into 2 books. Basically, the meat timeline, which is like the Prime Universe Homestuck timeline, and the Candy timeline, which is just the playgrounds for the authors to live out to get their sick kicks out and do whatever they want with those characters. But as Phoenix and I just said, you can't just look at the Candy timeline and go, oh, ain't that weird and wacky? That's not important. It is.
Yeah, the meat and candy universes are tied. And, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and they made Dirk Strider the almighty bad guy or whatever.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind that. Actually, I heavily mind that because Dirk Strider, he's an okay character. Dave Strider's obviously better in every sense.
But like they make Dirk kill himself, so he can like transcend into being like the anti-monitor,
the ultimate
or
self, which is apparently a thing.
Yeah, you achieve your ultimate self by jumping off. Like what he like hangs himself by jumping off a tower.
Like, apparently, it was him like fusing into like one universe version.
Dirk.
Yeah, but one thing that really rattles my bones about Dirk on how they ruined him. They made him homophobic. when he was gay in the original Homestuck.
So
Does
is
he
he no
even
longer
reference
gay?
back to that?
That's what I get from it, because apparently he really hates his brother Dave because he is gay. What? What?
Yeah, Dirk specifically is, I think, he's part of the most gay jokes in Homestuck. Because he has these stupid-looking frilly pants in his power suit, and he's literally gay for his best friend.
Yeah, they were literally dating
And
for a while before they realized, wait, we're all dysfunctional children.
And then Kate and the boys just kind of forgot that he was gay and made him homophobic.
It kind of, yeah.
So they don't even deal with him having been gay in the past. They just have it.
Yeah, because they just basically went like, "Oh, we got to make this character really evil. Do you know what's really evil? Hating the gays."
Homophobia.
Didn't they do something? I feel like I got angry at what they did with John.
That wouldn't surprise me.
What
What did they do with John? What happened to our main boy, John?
Yeah, actually, he was kind of untouched, but in the Meat timeline, he fucking dies.
Permanently?
But guess how he died.
How he die? I don't know.
Okay, so basically he had to go back in time
to
to fight.
Crushed by fat Mexican Vriska?
No. Oh my god, it's so much worse. Basically, big evil bad guy basically lodges his tooth into his chest and he's bleeding
I'll be right back,
out.
boys. Keep going.
And as he killed him to go into the black hole that he was sucked into, John was also sucked in the black hole and was like in a white void.
Uh-huh.
And oh hey, it's my good old friend Terezi, also in the black void with me, who I definitely don't have a hate crush on.
Uh-huh.
And he's kind of stuck in his dad's car, dying. And you know what? Terezi feels bad for him, so she fucks him in the back of his dad's car.
While he's bleeding out.
Then he dies.
Is this while John is actively bleeding out, Phoenix?
Yes.
So she's hastening his death.
Wait, so what's he bleeding
raising
out
his heart
from?
rate. He got attacked by the main villain of the epilogues.
And got his like tooth lodged into his stomach. He's kind of bleeding out, dying.
Terezi doesn't even try to administer first aid.
Well, there's nothing that they can do because apparently, the big evil bad guy also has like this super venom, and not even if he gets killed in this state, it doesn't matter if they're... Huh?
I said contrivances.
Yeah. Because he's so powerful, your technical immortality. We have to talk about god tiers later, but basically, your technical immortality won't work. You'll just die because he's so powerful and shit and has his venom. It's like, well, time to make them fuck.
Oh
yeah,
dear.
what are the sex scenes like in the Homestuck epilogues? Are there any? Does it just cut away?
Like I said, they fuck in the back of his dad's car.
Yeah, but like, do they describe it, or is it just like, then they bang?
I'm gonna have to... Fucks John. This is gonna be in my fucking... Meat 31.
I feel like the Homestuck epilogue.
Oh
should
god,
just get
yeah,
their own
okay.
episode at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, wait, I forgot. They get high.
Oh.
They also have weed in the back. Want some
Wait a
as
minute.
she says, want some delicious dry can? Candy shavings? You know. Do you have any idea what you're eating right now? She shrugs and licks the crumbs off her hand. His eyes can't help but follow the motion of her tongue. It leaves a trail of faintly teal saliva behind that glistens in the strange light coming through the windows.
Wait, teal saliva? But their spit is normal. It's not the color of their blood.
I don't know. But
Oh,
it's like, you're not supposed to eat it. You're supposed to put it in a pipe and smoke it.
we forgot to talk about the troll hierarchy. Completely.
Well, I mentioned it a little bit, but yeah, the fucking hierarchy. The blood castes.
Okay. If we talked about it, we probably don't need to talk about it again. I just can't remember if we did.
But yeah, Phoenix, get to the juicy bits. Read us some of that.
Okay. She gives him a narrowed-eyed look. Her thick eyelashes shadow her gaze. He feels anxious without knowing why.
Wait,
Why, John?
Terezi?
Are you curious about me?
Wait, Terezi, you're the bad Mexican Vriska?
Anyways, your whole licking thing has just been kind of weird. A lot of things you do are weird. I feel like we talked a oh yeah, by the way, the epilogue is really long-winded, so it's probably...
Does read the juiciest bits.
I'm just gonna skip a lot. Terezi changes in a subtle way, slowly the tide pulling out. She snaps the tobacco tin shut and sets it down on the floor of the car.
I'm assuming they just gave the trolls regular human genitalia and didn't like try to do anything like interesting.
Weird.
They just
Wait, it just occurred to me.
she just got a hoo-ha.
Do trolls have cloacas?
Maybe, I don't. Andrew Hussey didn't say, but Phoenix can enlighten us because he's reading the epilogue right now.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just rereading. I'm trying to get to the good part because holy shit, is the epilogue's long-winded.
Yeah,
Oh, it's that
unlike
kind of,
actual
like, super long prose.
Homestuck epilogues are like an actual book.
Yeah, it's like an actual book.
Oh yeah, I guess. How are they like? What is the quality of like the prose? Like, obviously, like you don't like the story, but does it suffer from just general like? I think you said it's like really wordy.
It's really wordy. Like, here's the thing. It goes into like a narration sort of thing, like in between, like talking. Like the talking is just like, what happened with this person? I don't know. We just stopped hanging out. Blah blah blah. But then it goes into a tear hits his knee, standing his pants in the dark. He rubs his eyes furiously. He's afraid Terezi will mock him for his childish display of emotion.
Childish display. What?
He's
That doesn't
dying.
even make any. That doesn't even make any
He's
sense.
fucking
John doesn't care
dying.
if people
Yeah,
see him
he does.
crying. Also, the whole point of John is that he's on the straight and narrow. Why is all this weird shit happening with him?
You know how TV Nihon definitely doesn't speak English. Did the writers who wrote Homestuck epilogues even read Homestuck?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Wouldn't surprise me if they didn't.
Oh yeah, John and Terezi are basically talking about what if we did have a relationship.
Damn, wouldn't that be wacky?
I guess that
Maybe-
doesn't bother me too much because they kind of almost did in normal Homestuck.
But the thing is, Matt, is that Me Timeline John could have had a relationship with Terezi, but they decided to kill him off instead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here. Do you want me to take a look at your wound? John has gotten so used to the pain, he almost forgotten about it. He looks down at the place where his shirt has grown stiff from the congealed blood. Both from the tooth piercing his flesh and more from the poison it has been delivering into its bloodstream.
What do they do? Do they do some fucking? What happens here?
It's. I'm not even joking. If I put this in a word counter, it'd probably be more words than the pages of Homestuck. Oh yeah. There's also this thing where Dirk is trying to control the narration of the story or some shit.
What? Why?
And so, because he wants to become God or some shit like that.
Oh boy.
For some reason.
For some fucking reason, because apparently, life is boring now. Terezi produces an...
Are you gonna say she produces a child after 2 minutes of fucking?
Okay, so she pulls out a blade, tries to... Oh no. It's close enough that her breath washes over his face. It smells like shaving cream and a tobacco, which is jarring to him.
Like...
So close that John notices the things that he hadn't on occasion before, like how lovely her eyes are, the length of her eyelashes. Now that he's really seeing them just inches away from his face is astounding to him. He's never thought Terezi as particularly feminine, at least in the way humans understand this idea. But he is never forced to reckon with her features so unavoidably. The dark borders around the perimeter of eyes are thicker and darker than what most trolls have. The tired bags and...
Damn, girl, you got some thick eyelashes.
Are we doing this or what? She asks. He presses his eyes shut. He nods and feels numb, clammy jarring down to his bones from particular sensation.
Dude is suffering from hypovolemic shock. How is he getting?
Yes.
How is he getting an erection?
Still seems to be denying himself as his own thoughts struggle to be honest with him. He cannot disguise the truth from me. Oh yeah, they also do fucking fourth wall shit. Like, oh, I know how the story is going. Basically, the narrator note is in the story. He is fighting an intense desire to kiss her. She grinds a sword between two of its ribs. The pain returns instantly.
She grinds a sword between his hips? What the fuck, Terezi?
Yeah, she's trying to lodge the tooth out at this point. I just need to stop the bleeding. Follow my lead. She peels him out of his hoodie and shredded t-shirt. He's dizzy. His vision wavers, fades. Bring him back to the brink of what he doesn't know. Unconsciousness, canonic dissolution. Oh yeah, being a part of the main canon is a thing as well.
God, there's so much dumb shit in this.
Oh, here it is. When his arms come down, they wrap around her shoulders, pulling her into his lap feels natural to him. A simple redirection of her momentum guide her closer. What comes less naturally is the first kiss.
How does he have
her
the strength left to do that?
Just over his, yet he hesitates. His mind is still lying to himself, casting doubt.
Two bungles.
Casting doubt on what it really wants. I don't see a purpose in allowing his self-deceit to continue for much longer. It's wrong to contradict one's true thoughts and feeling irrational, unbecoming of an existence governed by free will. What are you waiting for, John? For fuck's sakes, Johns, don't say anything stupid right now. He nods, leans forwards to kiss her. Terezi attacks, closing the gap between them swiftly. She bites onto his mouth, drawing blood, and then she sucks his lower lip. He twists his hands in the fabric of her shirt so hard it rides up on her back. Oh my god, your blood smells delicious. Oh yeah, she has a fucking...
She has a blood
thing
fetish?
for the color red. Because she's blind, she only sees through taste and smell. And she has a fetish for like the color red and humans having red blood. Yeah, she's fucking getting orgasmic right now.
That's a little worrisome.
Yeah.
This is something else.
I think you're really pretty in the light of the dead universe. Terezi rears back with a faint snarl and wraps both her hands around his neck. She doesn't press down, but the weight of her thumbs above his throat makes his heart rate. Didn't I tell you don't say anything stupid? The careful grip around his neck, John locks arms against her weight and pulls her flush against him. She's ravenous when the mouths collide, her desire intensified by the taste of scent of his blood. She doesn't give him a chance to say anything else for a while, stupid or otherwise.
John, this bitch is crazy.
And then they
he's about
fuck
to
because
die
now
anyways.
it just says Roxy is nervously dialing Rose's number. Yeah.
Oh, it's just
It
implied?
just basically... Huh?
It's just implied?
It's just implied. Everything is heavily implied, I should say.
I am disappointed.
I guess a good story was also implied in Homestuck too.
Oh, yeah. Here's the thing. Everything is implied. Like, they don't exactly say Jade has a dog cock, except they somehow expect two female humans to have a child without a male
but
reproductive
she's just like
organ.
she's like, yeah, when I merged with Bequerel, I got some of his parts. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Don't ask.
Yes.
Uh.
Oh yeah, it also Jade's daughter in the Candy timeline is this like human wolf hybrid who runs around on all fours and eats out of a dog bowl. It's
Oh, yeah. You forgot to mention her name. Yiffy.
That was that was a mandate by Jonathan Hussey himself. Remember?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yes. Jonathan Hussey. Fucking
Jonathan Homestuck.
Jonathan Holmes.
I forget what was his mandate. He said if you have a character be born from Jade, her name has to be Yiffy or something.
Something like that.
Yes.
Also, on that note, what is our opinion on wait, his name isn't John Hussey. It's Andrew. And Andrew Hussey. What is our thoughts on him?
He's an interesting guy. I don't think he really gives a fuck about all the shit that's happened with Homestuck over the years in his absence.
I think he hates Homestuck now, to be honest.
Yeah, he doesn't really care. I can't really say anything about him as a person other than the fact that he clearly is a little too interested in fat Vriska for anybody's good.
Mexican Vriska to you. We should pass that shirt idea along with Michael. It's just like, I'm with fat Mexican Vriska.
I stand with fat Mexican Vriska in her time of need.
It's just like the fat Vriska copy pasta on our shirts.
Yeah. But yeah, Andrew Hussey is a weird guy. I think you have to be kind of weird though to have made something as big and strange as Homestuck.
Andrew Hussey strikes me as a genius because he is laughing his way to the bank while these degens who don't know how to write are running his franchise into the ground, and he's, all set from Homestuck stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
He doesn't have to care about Homestuck anymore.
I mean, he didn't have to in the first place, to be honest. And I don't think he did all that much. He certainly didn't give much of a fuck about the fandom most of the time. But I think your description of him as like a genius who doesn't care about what's happening, that's pretty apt. Very accurate.
Yeah, because he made one of the most popular internet things of all time, and he can sit comfortably with his Conair bunny that he bought, just doing whatever. And just throw in the Chudleys, like a few bones here and there, and just going about, his life. It doesn't matter that Homestuck, it was garbage now. It's legend. It's in print.
Yeah, true. He made all of his money off of it when it came out. God, what it must be like to be that guy.
Everyone's obsessed with things that precede the legendary event, but no one ever asked what succeeds that legendary event. It's called Homestuck 2.
It's called Homestuck 2 in the Homestuck epilogues. I think we've covered a lot of ground. What else do you guys want to cover? Do you want to call it here pretty soon?
What else we can talk about? Homestuck. We talked about Homestuck 2. We talked about the epilogues.
Oh, we've yet to talk about troll hierarchy.
Oh yeah, I guess we can go a little bit into that. Oh wait, hold on. Phoenix.
Yeah?
Actually, I think I have a few more questions about 2. And so how is like, because obviously there's been a decline in writing quality. How's the art been?
How's the what?
Art.
Oh, the art, just as good as the writing.
Oh dear.
Because then I know at some point, I know at some point Hussey stopped using MS Paint to draw Homestuck.
Oh yeah, he's just started to use Photoshop.
Yeah, I feel like they'd actually use MS Paint.
No, I think he continued to use MS Paint until the end. It's just that he used other stuff to make it look better at times. I know that for the ending of Homestuck, he had the whole community come together to get artists and do stuff for the ending. And the ending of Homestuck actually, unironically, looks really nice.
Yeah.
I also know that the team is really bad at getting pages out. They're only at like 2,000 or something.
Yeah, hold on. Let me skip ahead.
Wait, is Homestuck 2 not done?
No, it's not done.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, because they moved at a snail's
okay,
pace.
so just to put in how slow they are, in 1 year, Homestuck released 1,000 pages. In 1 year, Homestuck 2, 407.
Ouch.
Yeah, last page, it doesn't tell us what page this was made. Yeah. This stuff is just kind of taking it real slow, and the story is just fucking everywhere because they're focusing on both timelines.
Ouch.
Yeah,
but when you said, I thought you said the ending of Candy was in Meat and the ending of Meat was in Candy. Is that just something they talked about?
Oh, in the epilogues.
Oh.
The Homestuck 2 leeches on to the epilogues. So really, it's just the epilogues too.
Oh. Ouch.
Yeah, as a both both timelines are valid. Like they're connected through multiverse travel, so all of the characters are in play. But yeah, what Phoenix was meaning by that is like when you get to the end of Candy, you get Meat's ending and vice versa.
All right.
Because, they're connected.
I guess that probably wouldn't...
I think Homestuck took this canon thing a little way too, seriously.
Yeah.
Honestly, they were like, whoa, look how meta I am.
Yeah, just a bit.
I'm messing with the narration of the story.
This is my thought on things like the multiverse and time travel and canon shenanigans like that. Unless you are an absolute genius, master of your craft, to create a story that weaves those elements so perfectly, it's like you're playing a game of 5-dimensional chess. Don't try.
Mm-hmm.
Because you either come out with a very well thought out, complex story with a bunch of pieces that are moving, but all of those pieces slot into place, and you have one completed picture, and then in the other case you have a broken mess that doesn't make any sense.
Brutal. I can kind of agree on that, though. Conclusion about our thoughts on the original Homestuck. What did you guys think of Homestuck? Did you like it?
I like it.
I loved it.
Would you recommend people to read it?
Yes, stay
Oh,
away
yeah,
from the fandom.
Stay away from the fandom. Read it and just know Homestuck ends as soon as Homestuck ends.
Yes.
It's
This
end.
talk about Homestuck 2 in the epilogues, it doesn't exist. Don't try to find it.
Dubiously canon.
Dubiously
It doesn't
good,
exist.
too.
Yeah, I recommend for most things is for people to stay out of fandoms in general.
Yeah, unless you really, really want
Is
to. In
Guys,
which case, do it at your own risk.
this is so you think you can fan it, and you know what that means?
What does that mean?
Is there a Homestuck Fanon wiki?
I'm sure that there is.
I'm sure there is.
There is a Homestuck Fanon wiki. It's only got 49 pages, though.
Ouch.
It's probably because there's no need for one.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah, I
also
mean,
a
Hussey-
Homestuck roleplay wiki that has like 300 pages.
A roleplay wiki.
Yes.
I just want to add one more thing about Homestuck.
Yeah, what's up?
The amount of explaining we could do here cannot ready you for Homestuck. People will try to explain Homestuck the best there is, and the only way you can really explain Homestuck is read it.
Yeah, that's basically the best way to get anything out of it, honestly. We could spend all day explaining it and you wouldn't really get what we meant until you actually get around to it and read it. It's good though. I enjoy it.
Yes.
It's a fun, wacky adventure. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is very good. I recommend it. I am sad to see it's in the state that it is, but as most things go, the things that you like are continued by people who are not the same, and they ruin it.
Suck, honestly. Anyhow, that's I think everything I have to say about Homestuck.
Yeah, I think that would conclude the pre-discussion as next week, on Wednesday, Kai will be joining us once again, as he joined us to read Dave Studiner, Pokemon Trainer, and we will be taking a look at Homestuck fan comics. I guess you could say it's a fan and Friday.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of fan comics for Homestuck.
Yeah, actually, we haven't done Fan and Friday in a while. I think because the person who is supposed to be keeping track of Fan and Friday has been really bad at reminding me and Jacob about when we're gonna do that. So I'm going to denote that. Even if he doesn't denote it as such, is that next week is a Fan and Friday covering the Homestuck fan comics.
Neat.
Of course, we can't read all of them, so we'll just be making broad, possibly incorrect statements on all of the Homestuck fan comics by, like, the 3 that we read. So, you guys better be up to snuff. You're getting judged for the whole.
I'm gonna say they're gonna be mostly incorrect. That's my statement.
Oh, wait. Guys, there is a Fanon for, Homestuck.
Oh.
Where's it at?
It's called MSPFA.
Yeah, MS Paint Fan Adventures. That's not really.
That's what we're gonna be reading next week.
Yeah, those are basically the fan fictions of it.
They're all styled like Homestuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically the reason why there isn't like a fandom wiki, is that people just take to there to, do their thing.
Yep. All right. Any closing statements?
I'm just glad that we were able to record today, despite having some absences. But this was fun. I enjoyed the discussion. Nice, lengthy episode. Nothing to prevent us from going on past an hour.
Yep.
Phoenix, what'd you think of your first episode doing the podcast?
Yeah, it's really nice. Thank you for inviting me on, and sorry if I didn't talk as much,
No, you talked
were
enough.
fine.
or if I talked too much. I don't know what I did.
You did the right amount of talking. Anyhow,
Nice.
goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time on So You Think You Can Fanon.
Bye-bye.